Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Sporty King and welcome to Glue Wednesday. And I'm getting on early. I try to get on, 3 to 5 minutes early to give Facebook a chance to build the audience. So if you're on with me live, don't worry. You still got less than 3 minutes. Less than 4 minutes to go get one more cup of coffee or one more rinse of your face. Whatever it is you do, you still got time because we'll start the message in less than 3 minutes. But I always like to get on. See, that's what we have to realize about technology. Technology, and I had this conversation and an instance with my good friend Tracy Brown this morning, where we have to realize that email is not instant messaging. So even though we sent an email, it wasn't like sending a text. So it doesn't always automatically get there. So I get on early so I can do this as well. What's up, Vic? So, yep, and the family is coming on. Yeah, so I can do my shout outs because Wednesday is my interactive day. I'm on Facebook Live and YouTube Live 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so on Monday, it's a quick message. I call it the MMM, the Monday morning moment. And that's a 1 to 2 minute inspirational message that I put on just to get going. Then on Friday, I have what I call Gift Friday. And that's where I'll read. That's a 10 to 12 minute message where I'll read one of my original poems and then drop it in the thread as a gift to you for enjoying the video. And then on today, Wednesday, is Glue Wednesday, and that's when I use it as more interactive. So I have a prepared message, but it also goes based on what you drop in the thread. So we got some interaction going today. So welcome aboard to Glue Wednesday. Yay. And we've got less than 2 minutes to get our message started. If this is somehow your first time, and believe me, it's always somebody's first time. It's not a problem. Glue Wednesday was born from the fact that so often people say, that Wednesday is hump day. And, because old schoolers, we run things. And with the old school, all we said was you either worked Monday to Friday or you had the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So Wednesday was called hump day because it was the day that you had to get over to make it to the weekend. But I say that Wednesday, everybody doesn't work Monday to Friday, first of all. And Wednesday is the middle of a traditional 7-day week, regardless of what days or shifts you work. So I say that Wednesday is the glue that keeps the week beginning and the week end together. And it brings us right into my favorite thing, a prayerful mode. And so that's why I call it Glue Wednesday, because it, and my glue stands for GLUE, God's love undoes everything. So I'll keep that up there. And we've got less than 2 minutes for today's message, but let that welcome in everybody who comes on after we started the broadcast. See, I don't like to use the word late. After we started the broadcast, a lot of times we talk about people being late, but then we'll have a conversation later that day or another day that says, God is always on time. He's an on-time God. And so, think about that. Think about how you relate that or to lateness. And if God is always on time, then nobody's actually ever late. Yeah, now they may not be there when something starts, or they may not be there when you want them to be there. But then that should one of the things we're going to be talking about today, and I give you a spoiler alert, is the choices that we make. We got less than a minute for today's actual message, but it's the choices we make. You have the choice when someone shows you who they are. You have the choice now to see how they fit into your life. Do they fit? Do they stay? Do they leave? It's up to you. So it really is about us being on our time, because it's the pace that we set that makes a difference in our lives as well as in other people's lives. Because you don't always know why someone got there after it started. You don't know what's going on in somebody's life. Man, we got a lot to learn. Okay, but it's 1:00. In terms of live. So let's get the message started. And like I say, so Glue Wednesday is GLUE, God's love undoes everything. And we're in the middle of what I call the Burr months, September, October, November, and December. In fact, we're at the end. We're at the end of the Burr months. And And so my question is to you is each week we'll discuss the question, what will you do to keep it together? You see, we don't need to get over. We need to keep it together. That's why I say hump day. Hump has the connotation of the need to get over. We are humping. We got to get over. And that's why I say it's glue, because it's not about getting over. It's about keeping it together. And what are you genuinely doing to keep it together? Well, one of the things that you can genuinely do is know who you are. Slow down, Sporty. Know who you are. That's how you keep it together. So what we'll do today, you'll be throwing some stuff in the thread about what you're doing to keep it together. And I'll give you some prompts, because we're going to do them sometimes based on what we're talking about, but sometimes just based on what you feel like putting in there. Okay. But first, 3 words today are going to be calling, charisma, and choices. See, we're going to be rediscussing the letter C. If you know what I was doing is I take the letters from the birth months and I make a different message. So this month it was D, E, C, and M. And so since there are actually 5 Wednesdays, I've already used the D, the E, the C, and the M. So I'm reusing the C, and I'll use the E next week, but I'm reusing the C this month because here are my words: calling, choices, and calling, charisma, and choices. Those are the words I want to focus on today. But first, a literacy or history fact. According to dictionary.com, the English language is infamously difficult, in part because its spelling befuddles even native speakers, as letters take on different sounds depending on what letters surround it, like life and context. Few letters exemplify this trouble more than the 3rd letter of the alphabet, C. Think about these words: cease, coin, chic, indict, and discrepancy. In this string of terms, the C sounds like an S, cease, a K, coin, an SH, chic, and in one case it's silent, indict. In fact, even one word in this stream doesn't always maintain the same sound. Chic sounds like an SH as well as a K. So due in part to this phonetic flexibility, okay. And that's due in part to this phonetic flexibility of all the ways we can use the letter C. Meanwhile, C is the 13th most frequently used letter in the alphabet. And the fickle nature of this letter did not please everyone. As American English grew in the 1700s, Benjamin Franklin actually campaigned to remove C from the alphabet altogether. For literary history, right? Though his efforts did not gain much traction. Today, the letter C is commonly used as an abbreviation for the temperature scale, Celsius, and to stand for the word century. It is also the name of a computer programming language, C, which was developed by AT&T Bell Labs in the late 1960s and early 1970s. This language is so named because it is based on a language called B, which was derived from BCPL, Basic Combined Programming Language. And not even great technology or creativity. It was called C language. Why? Because the C comes after the B. So that's our literary and historical fact for today. But let's see how the C words work together for our message today. And I dedicate my message today to our military family and friends, especially those who are going through or who have been through the deployment cycle. You see, my first word is calling. And I enjoy sharing my belief with my military family that there's a high calling on your lives as a military family. Oh, wait, let me see. Okay, yeah. America asks you to turn your emotions on and off at the drop of a dime, and you do it. But have you taken time to give yourself credit or pat on the back? It's not easy being a military family. So I want y'all to think about that as we continuously enjoy praying and thanking our military family. Let's think about what America asks them to do. That's why I say there's a high calling on your life, military family. America asks you to turn your emotions on and off at the drop of an order. And you do it. And what do I mean by that? Well, hey, you're not going to have Christmas. Get over it. You're not going to celebrate this birthday. Get over it. You're not going to celebrate the birth of your child. Get over it. And no emotion is wrong. Every emotion is legitimate. Sadness, anger, exhilarance, excitement. All of those things, those holidays, those special celebrations are things that spark our emotions. But we ask our military family to just recognize, hey, this is the way it is. We're happy that you have that special occasion, but you will not be there to celebrate it together. And so that's where technology has come a long way and helped some of our military families there. But again, I dedicate this message to you because one thing I enjoy sharing with them is about, I constantly and consistently talk about that high calling. Remember, not everybody can do what a military family has to do, that turning the emotions on and off, and especially keeping them off. Not everybody can do it. But how often, my military families, and those of you, if you've never been in my military audience, but you have military blood in your family, and you can think back to deployments or even just basic training, separation, everybody can't do what a military family does, especially these days with the deployment. Everybody can't do it. Even some of our military family members and military members, service members, didn't know they could do it until they joined and were deployed. They may have gone to the recruitment office and say, yes, I'm willing to do it. But until you get that order to deploy, you don't know how well you are going to fare and if you can do it. So once again, let's thank our military. See, when we say thank you to our military members and family, let's really know what we're thanking them for. Let's really find ways to pray for and praise them. So thank you again. Okay, not everybody can do it, all right? But I always remind my military members to give themselves credit and then give themselves a pat on the back. So let's swing that over to us, each recognizing our calling. You see, it's not always so obvious, yet it does involve you giving yourself credit and a pat on the back. You see, your vision of success cannot be restricted to the eyes of others. It's not about what somebody else sees. It's about what you see. You have to see your own victories and retroactively connect the dots and embrace your calling. Sometimes we call it a passion. So I say retroactively because what you have to do is look at what you've accomplished. I've always said, trust your track record. Look at what you've accomplished and put together that blessing and say, wow, I did that. Let me pat myself on the back. Let me give myself credit for it. Yes, and people, well, I didn't do it. God did it. Correct. But aren't you down with God? All right. And then here we go. There, Vic, these didn't show up. Let me know that you had said something. So happy holidays to everybody. Yeah. And then happy holidays, Crystal Bell, Chimes. That's my good sister, Chimes. Wonderful principal of an elementary school in Chicago. Yay, Chimes. But let's go back to that. Your vision of success can't be restricted. And I say restricted. Yes, you'd like to be successful in the eyes of others, especially when you think about what I just talked about in terms of my principal friend, Crystal Bell. She has to be a successful principal, a leader that her teachers and the students want to follow. So she has to be successful in their eyes. But it's so much more important that she sees that success through hers so that she can pass it along. I know when I was in Chicago, and she had a tradition that every morning one or two of the students would come across on the microphone, the PA system in the school, and give the inspirational message of the day. So she has a lot of great traditions that she had established at the school, and really helps keep our kids and our teachers motivated to get through. So I'm sure that she's come up with something creative, even though they're doing the virtual learning right now. So, and this is also PS, by the way, what I mean by this day's message being interactive, where I have something prepared to talk about, But as people come on and I see them, and then we can talk about some things that, go in another direction, and that's always fine. And it's always good to hear what our educators are doing, because they impact our children so heavily, and often more wonderfully than we give them credit for. So just as we're dedicating this to our military families, let's dedicate or let's give some high praise and high calling recognition to our educators, because the having the job to have to deal with the parents who are now learning. Some parents got a great lesson through this pandemic, and they're like, okay. See, before they used to be not my child, and now they're like, whoa, is that my child? Now I get it. Ooh, I wish I could go back and hug some of those teachers. But they can't always do it. And love your parents, love your teacher. And then let's give some high calling to our parents. It's not easy being a parent. So parents, come on, give yourselves credit. Stop beating yourselves up. Children do not come with a rule book, and there's no rule book on parenting. Yes, they have books that are written about effective parenting, but what are they from? They're from what has happened, what parents have done and shared. Each child comes differently. And so your parenting is impacted by your surroundings, your support system, and by the child's personality. So it's not easy being a parent. Come on, parents, give yourself a pat on the back and give yourselves credit. Sounds like I could go down the line and help every single one of us recognize that it's not easy being you. And we have to give ourselves credit and a pat on the back. And that's why that little affirmation is still sitting on the screen. Your vision of success cannot be restricted to the eyes of others. You have to see your vision and beauty. You have to see your victories and give yourself credit, and then retroactively connect the dots. Say, wait a minute, you know what? I've been doing this. Maybe that's my calling. And like I said, sometimes we say, that's my passion, but maybe that's my calling. So here's what I want to do right now. What's something that you think you could or have given yourself credit for and a pat on the back? Put that in the thread right now. What's something that you could have given yourself credit for? Maybe you did. So if you did give yourself credit for it, put it in the thread as well. And that's what we want to talk about in terms of we're seeing that this could be what adds up to our calling or our passion. What's something that you've done that you've given yourself credit for? Are you a parent? Are you an educator? And so already, Crystal, you don't have to put that in there because I already gave you that. But no, have you given yourself credit? Remember, it's not through my eyes. Have you seen it through your eyes? Vic, you're an entrepreneur. Have you given yourself credit? Because entrepreneurial business goes up and down. It's based on people's needs. Just because we have a wonderful business and passion doesn't mean that everybody needs us. As a speaker, I get plenty of people say, oh man, Sporty, you need to be speaking here. Your message is great, this and that. But you know what? If nobody's in the market for what my message is, I can't say, man, what's the matter with me? I'm not a good speaker. I have to say, no, this is not the group that needs to hear my message. And I'll give you a spoiler alert. That's going to be coming up as well. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting for you to drop something in the thread, and P.S., by the way, even if you're watching the video, please still throw something in the thread, because you never know when something you put in there could help somebody else. Because wait a minute, I do that same thing and I never thought about that as something I need to give myself credit for. Yes. See, so that's what we have to do. It's about extending the blessing. But here's the staying on calling. One of the great roads that I had to take in my life when I first started as a speaker back 26 years ago, I called and scheduled a meeting with my then pastor in Chicago, Dr. Horace Smith, with Apostolic Faith Church. And I said to him, I said, you know what, Dr. Smith? I said, you know what, when I speak, I always end up talking about God. And so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be a speaker or if I have the calling, because there's a thin line between being a speaker and having a calling. And I said, I really don't want to have the calling because I'm not ready to give up sin. That's almost the exact quote of the conversation that I had with him, right? But you know what he did? He chuckled, not very long, and then he just very calmly said to me, but should the preacher be the only one without sin? Should the preacher be the only one without sin? Ladies and gentlemen, I felt the weight go off of my shoulders when he said that to me. You see, my vision was one thing, but he gave me another vision. of what I was doing with my calling retroactively with my gift. And he made me see that I had to share the gift and not be busy labeling the gift as whether or not it's a calling or I'm a speaker. What's my message? And that's what I want to ask you too. What's yours? Put it in the thread. We haven't gotten anybody talking about what they pat themselves on the back for. Maybe we'll get it on the video. But that was such a weight off my shoulder. And I'll always thank him, Dr. Horace Smith. Should the preacher be the only one without sin? Took the weight off of my shoulders and helped me move on with sharing my gift. So I've been patting myself on the back for that for 26 years. I've been taking the credit for what God is doing through my life and giving myself a pat on the back for 26 years. You see, I see myself as a child of God and a messenger delivering his word. One of my, I call it throwing the seeds. One of the things that Jesus said to the farmers is, you remember he said to them, he didn't say aim the seed, he said throw it. And he gave them 4 choices of what was going to happen to the seed. And that's your message. He said the first choice is it's going to land on hard ground and take no root. Second, it's going to land in thorns and cut away when stuff gets tough. Third, it's going to land on shallow soil. And when it gets too hot, when the challenges get too heavy, it's going to die. And then fourth, the fourth choice is the one he recommends. And that's the one we want, is that it will land in fertile ground and give root and then bring forth a harvest. That's the same thing that you get to do. What is your message? What seeds are you throwing? Throw the seeds, don't aim them. You can't always know who's going to get your message. So that's why if you put in the thread what you give yourself credit for, what you pat yourself on the back for, that may be something that somebody else say, wow, I do that too. And I haven't given myself credit for that. And that could take some of the weight off of their shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, we impact so many people's lives that we won't get to hear a thanks from. And aren't there people who have impacted your life that you'll never have the opportunity to thank? So, just think about some of those things and throw the seeds. Don't aim them. Who are you? Are you sharing your gift based on who you are? And that's what I call throwing the seeds. And that's what I love to do. I love to throw the seeds. And so I throw the seeds based on my charisma, our second C word today. I throw them based on our charisma. And why did I say based on our charisma? Well, you see, communication is 93% is 93% nonverbal, only 7% the words you use. So in other words, 55% of your appearance, 38% is your tone. So how you look, remember Billy Crystal used to say, you look marvelous. How you look impacts your words. How your tone comes across impacts your words, or how they touch somebody else's life. And so what I do is I've been able to use that 93% to set up the 7%. See, because my appearance and my tone paint the picture of my empathy. And you've heard me say it before. Empathy is so important. I can't say that I've been in your shoes. I don't know what you're going through. I haven't walked in your shoes. However, I've sat in your row, because we're all going through something. And so because I've been able to have the right appearance, see, that same message, depending on how I look, that same message of we all sit in the same row changes. You might get that from someone say, I'm not in the row with you. Or you might get it and say, whoa, I'm in the row with you. And then the tone, I don't care I didn't go through that, versus I haven't been through that. That changes, because now I'm not making somebody feel bad about what they're going through, or what they've been through. Think about that. Your appearance and your tone impact your words. So it's so important to really brush up on our nonverbal communication skills, which we're getting a lot of practice during the pandemic, because just because you write it or text it or email it, that's not verbal. It's still nonverbal. And so we have to be more conscious of what we say when we send someone a text or an email. We got to put the emojis in there, because, email doesn't have sarcasm. And so you have to put LOL. You have to put smiley face. You have to put love. You have to put how you feel and the emotions in parentheses. All of that is nonverbal communication. And one of the things that we have to brush up on as we move forward in this future, because I've told you we're not in the present now. We are in the present, but we're in the future as well. And I didn't just double speak and cancel out what I said, but it's just that I said, yeah, we're not strictly in the present. We're in the present, but we're in the future. Why do I say we're in the future? Because we are waiting to see what's going to happen now that the vaccine is here, and now we've got the debate of who's going to take it and who's not going to take it. Well, we have to, and reason being why we don't know what the side effects are. We don't know how long, it's going to last. All of this is stuff that's going to happen. Well, what does going to happen mean? That means the future. So we will be, when it happens, we will be experiencing it. We will be monitoring it. So we're living in the future. This is a great time, y'all. It's all about how you choose to look at it. And so I believe that how we need to ask ourselves, here's a second thing to put in the thread. How will your communication and your charisma help you keep it together? How will your communication and your charisma help you keep it together? What will your what are you putting? Are you going to send your emails differently? Are you going to do your marketing promotions differently? How will your communication help you keep it together? Now, what have you done? Remember, we're talking about the future now. What are you going to do to keep it together? And what I'll do is keep on moving on with the message as people put that in. It's never too late to drop it in, and I can always come back to it and stress a point, okay? So great. And that takes us to the final C, which is choices. See, I believe that when I harness that empathy of not knowing not knowing what's going on in your shoes, but sitting in your row because something's going on in my life as well. I'm going through something. I believe when I harness that impacts my choices. Your calling and your charisma impact your choices. You've always heard me say, choose your messengers carefully and recognize that you are being carefully chosen as someone's messenger. So when someone chooses you as a messenger, what are they going to follow? See, that's going to be a choice that they have to make, whether or not they should follow you. And your choice is made on what? Based on your calling or your passion. Whoa, wow, I can do this. So maybe since I know I can do this, now I'll do that. And how will I transmit that to other people that I'm doing it? You see how it's coming together? Your calling and your charisma. And now that will make me have the choice of saying, yes, I can do it. Yes, I can, or no, I can't. Our choices are based on how we believe in ourselves. That's what our passion, and then how we communicate that belief, that charisma that we have. So what will yours do to help you make better choices? And recognize that you are somebody's messenger. So make sure that you make the great choices and recognize that you are helping someone come to a choice. So one of the things that I choose to believe is what I always like to mention to people, because right now I'm still hearing people say, oh man, I can't wait to get out of 2020 and this coronavirus. Coronavirus is not ending on December 31st at 12 midnight. This is the first year of COVID. This is not the year of COVID. This is the first year of COVID. Remember, we're living in the future. We don't know how long it's going to last. So it's important for us to be realistic about it and see what we can do and see how it has an effect. See, we look back and say, well, the Spanish flu was this. But guess what? In that time, while it was happening, they didn't know how long it was going to be around. And I know we've got people saying, well, how come they came up with the vaccine so fast? Okay, just giving me just another way of looking at things. The research is better than it used to be. Our access, our resources are better than they used to be. Our scientists and doctors are smarter than they used to be. So I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with how come they came up with the vaccine so fast. But I also know that a couple of weeks ago in the broadcast, Tony had put something in there that they have been studying it for years. So it's just that it's now an outbreak. but that the studies have began years ago in China, and there's a lot of history to it. So again, that's where you're choosing your messengers carefully. Be careful of what the news is saying, because the news is going to give you the negative side as well as the slant that it wants you to get. You hear how we, even during the political season, depending on which news station you watched, impacted, you watched the station that was supporting your nominees. And see, so again, there's how we make our choices. So who's in your ear? Who are you listening to? Who's getting the live broadcast? Be conscious and calm about the choices that you make. And please, this is the first year of COVID. And we're going to recognize that we have to get this testimony. We're creating the testimony, because now that people have started to take the vaccine, we'll see what happens. And we'll see the testimony come forward. And then somebody say, oh, wow, great. Now, in retrospect, somebody's going to say, man, them doctors and scientists came up with that vaccine fast. They were on the case. But right now, in the moment, skepticism. It's no different than Dr. King, by the way. Dr. King, Jesus, Gandhi, while they were doing their thing, Mother Teresa, people doubted them. Doubted that they would make these sacrifices. And then once they made them and it came to fruition, it's like, oh, wow, they were visionaries. Retrospect, y'all. It's not a bad thing. It's just retrospect. So what I want to say to you is, what will you do to stay positive? Will you? As we go through this new testimony according to God's will, what will you do to stay positive? Well, I will continue to do my broadcasts as a way, because believe me, I'm not doing them just to keep you positive, because I'm not faking it. I'm really positive. I feel good about what's going on. I feel good about how history is unfolding before our eyes. I like to call it the Moses syndrome for me, because I remember, in the Bible, it was that Moses said, well, God, what am I going to say? And God said, just go there. I'll tell you what to say. And sometimes that's how I feel as a speaker. I have had people say, oh, man, I'm looking forward to what you have to say today. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Because I don't know what I'm going to say. I know what I come to talk about. So I call it the Moses syndrome. I've always looked forward to going ahead and sharing what the message is as God delivers it to me and through me. And right now, we can be Moses or we can be the Israelites. We can decide, I want to go back to the way things were, which is not possible. Or we can say, hey, I'm going to do like Moses. And you know what? I want to see the promised land. I'm going to believe. I'm going to continue to believe that this is what has to happen. This is according to God's will. This is the prayer I say on a regular basis. The Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. See, I say it. And when I say I am personifying you, we say the Lord's Prayer, but do we hear what we're saying? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. In fact, if you go to my website and look under Gift Friday, there was one week, I don't remember which week, where I actually used that poem, Thy Will Be Done. And there's a message that go with that as well. So about how it's according to God's will of what we do. And so that is not, oh, there we go. That is real. Okay. And you know what? Sometimes you have to pause for effect. That is what? That is real. All right. So there's a lot of stuff that's real, y'all. You saw when that went in live, according to what I was saying it. So where it comes in, everything is real. Everything is real. Even when people, when the whole thing about fake news, it was fake what? Based on the network that you were listening to. Who are you getting your message from? So what are you going to do to stay positive? Are you? So put some of that stuff in the thread. Again, even if you're watching the broadcast, put it in there so that someone else can see that later and say, good, maybe that's something that I can do as well. I hadn't thought about trying that, but I have access to those types of resources. So maybe I'll use that. And then what I want to also say is, I won't be doing Gift Friday this Friday. I'll be doing it Gift Friday Eve. I'll be on tomorrow. with sharing one of my original poems. It won't be the interactive session that we do today, okay? It'll be just 10 to 12 minute message. That's what I like to do with Gift Friday. But I'll share one of my original poems, tell you how to use it in live or virtual settings so that you can actually still use it as a way to keep people encouraged while we're going through and dealing with the pandemic. But also, what about pandemic? We go through and deal with life every single day. So as we're taking that, we take like what Zed said. That's real. We're dealing with life every day. So this is the new storm. This is the new storm. Remember, you've heard me say it before, but if it's your first time, I once heard an Air Force chaplain say that the real message behind the real moral behind the story of the three little pigs is not what type of a house you built, but it's about the fact that the storm is coming. And then I added, after that storm, there'll be another. And after that storm, there'll be another. We've been through a lot of storms, ladies and gentlemen, going right back to the beginning in the high calling of your lives, on the lives of our military families. We've been through a lot of storms. Have you given yourself credit and a pat on the back for the storms that you've been through? You didn't know you'd be able to make it through. Sure, you had faith of a mustard seed and you believed you would, but sometimes you were saying, I believe it, and you had to keep telling yourself, nothing wrong with that. Pray without ceasing. So it really is important that we continue to do that right now as we make our way through. It's going to be all right. So I'll see you tomorrow on Gift Friday Eve. Oh, just like it's Christmas Eve, but it'll be Gift Friday Eve. Thank you for always enjoying and joining me on the message. Remember, you can always go to my site, sportyking.com, and then click onto the website. And also let it click you in through to YouTube, my YouTube channel, where all of the messages are synchronized. Synchronic synchronic order. So because on Facebook you have to skip different posts, right? But if you go on to YouTube, you'll see them all in a row, and you can get your full and fill of me being positive, as well as me being positive through what you give me. So thanks again. God bless you. Happy Christmas Eve. Right, because this is Christmas Eve. All right, we throw it all together. Remember, Glue Wednesday, GLUE. God's love undoes everything. Let's continue to keep it together and make it all happen. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. I'll leave it up there to click some more comments in on any kind of the tape, but we're done. Unless somebody's got something they want to throw in there to ask me about, well, we'll swing it on over there. But love you, Bell. Chimes. Bless you too. Amen. What we got here? Oh, Deb Joy Hart. Synchronic. Thank you. Synchronistic. I could not get the word, Deb. Because I was trying to have an L-Y and a synchronally, right? So thank you, synchronistic, duh. The English language. See, there we go. Oh, there's the C, synchronistic. Yeah, see, there's that C. Our letter today was the C. All right, we get it in there at the end. All right. And the end is what? It's just the beginning. END is an exciting new day. Always know that the N allows you to refresh and renew. The alphabet, remember when you were learning the alphabet, you said A to Z, and then after the Z, you say, okay, I'm done. You say, start over. Okay, what you say is that you were corrected. Oh, yes. Oh, great. I'm loving it's not corrected. I was added to. One time I was in Chicago, I was speaking at the Department on Aging. And as I was leaving, one of the seniors, Clarence, I give him a shout out. He said, man, when you said this, I would have said it. I said, well, why didn't you add that? He said, I didn't want to steal your thunder. And I said, you can't steal my thunder. you can only share in my blessing. And so I'm glad you wrote that, Zach, because that's one of the challenges. See, there's a letter C, corrected. One of the challenges that we have in our lives is sometimes we don't want to be corrected. We don't want somebody else's input. We feel like it's an attack. It's not an attack. It's an addition. When because what's the other person's option? To let you go on and not and sound uneducated and then use something again where you won't be, it won't be, you know how when kids are cute and they mess up words, we think it's cute, but then they get to a certain age, it's like, okay, that's not cute anymore. You got to say the word right. So, oh no, I thank you for throwing it in, but I'm never corrected. I'm always added to, and I love it because I'm okay with that. My spirit is not one that has to feel, oh my God, maybe I better not say that. I might not be saying it right. I'm okay. I'm okay. 26 years. That's what I'm saying. I've been patting myself on the back and know that I've been making the right choices. And so you keep doing that. Then that's something that even with everything that those just things, correct one another, synchronize with one another, thank people, make sure that you keep it real. Remember that the holiday, keep the holy in holiday. And then, and keep it in there. And then everybody, we're brothers and family. See, so we can back retroactively enjoy the message. Okay, I'm out of here again, but we got one more comment we got there. Okay. Oh, it's just that my stream hadn't come going all the way down. All right. Thank y'all so much. God bless you, and I'll see you then. Ciao.